What's up, good people? Queens of the Yard podcast presented by HBCU Game Day is the ultimate HBCU centric podcast for women who love culture, conversation, and community. I am your co-host, Miss Scale, the big one, not the little one. And then I have my other co-host.
What's up, y'all? It's Sheena. Just Sheena. I'm
No
big too.
catchphrases. No, what's it called when you put the
Little
you got the
tagline.
title, no subtitles.
Lord knows, no subtitles. It's just me.
I'm Sheena, just
Yeah.
Sheena. That's your
That's
subtitle.
it's Sheena.
Just
It's
Sheena.
actually it's Sheena.
It's
It's Sheena. So
Sheena.
it's
Just
Sheena.
Sheena.
Yeah, it's Sheena. What's up,
What's up,
girl?
my friend?
Not
What's been
much.
going on this week with you?
Working this week has been a lot of work. I've been all in my graphic designer bag for everything in the world. I rearranged my office. I said I need a big girl office again. So I rearranged that. Just kind of making home still. That's really it. Dreading my
You
grass.
know, Ray J's hat, like the V for his hat. Like every episode, your space is just a little bit different each
Yeah, for real. Yeah, and I mean, it's like that, but I think this is what I'm gonna settle into. I like this. I like how this
time.
came
Looks
out.
nice.
So
Very
I think
professional.
it is nice to have it settled somewhere instead of upstairs in my room, which I didn't mind it. It just, I don't know, it felt too personal. Like, y'all get out my
Mm.
room, ew, get off my bed.
No, being in your room is very personal. Like
Yeah.
I don't film content in my room. Like my room is literally maybe the most unesthetic part of my place, but it's like rest, relaxation. I don't do anything in the bed but sleep. So I get it. Like the room is like a sacred place.
Yeah. Now, my room is very aesthetic. Like, I wanted it to look like a hotel room. So it has very much like
Mm.
soft hotel vibes. And it had become like overrun with my accolades. So I unaccoladed my room. I
Mm.
said, I just want to be still when I come in here. I don't want to be reminded of all the work I do, in my
Yeah,
bedroom.
I mean, yeah, that's
So,
what I mean. Maybe my the aesthetic is not to be aesthetic, but like I just like I want my room to be just so peaceful.
mhm.
Like my house is so colorful, right? And I just like when
Yeah.
I go in my living room and stuff, it's like creativity. It's just like
Yeah.
hit me in the face, right? So when I go in my
Yeah.
room, it's like tranquility.
It's like,
Go to sleep.
yes. That's what I've been going for. I did a play like a couch and all of that in there. So it's super cozy, super sweet life.
Cozy.
Like
Love
I love
that.
it in there now. And now all this other stuff is down here. I got a great view of the backyard. So it's nice. It's nice. What about you? What you been up to? What you do this week?
Coming off Dreamville.
How was
Uh,
Dreamville?
Dreamville was insane. Like the energy was just so electric. Like I don't even know any other word to describe it. It's just like energy was just bouncing off the wall at Dreamville. So I love that. Um,
Yeah. You got to interview Coco Jones. How was Coco
I
Jones?
got to
Other than
interview
tall as
Coco
hell?
Jones. Super cool,
Oh
super tall.
man.
Like she said, I got to post a full interview, but she's like, I'm looking at the top of your head. And I'm like,
Man,
girl,
mind
I
your
know.
business.
The crazy,
Focus.
it's men, but like this is the thing. Men, it's like I should have just I went with my initial I said, no, we need to sit. I was telling them we need to sit because like I know I don't look like Coco Jones' little sister. And so like, but they were like,
Right.
no, no, let's just do it over here. And that's the first thing she said. And I was thinking in my head, I should have just went with my initial
Yeah.
reaction to get chairs. Like I look a little kid, but
Yeah.
no, she was super cool. Like,
Awesome.
super nice to talk to. Like I definitely, and I was, looking at the Dreamville lineup, I was like, I have to see Coco Jones like
Hmm.
perform. And
Hmm.
so, like, look at the universe where, like I say, I have to see Coco Jones, and I saw her in like a way more, intimate
Right. A
setting than
full
like what I
way.
wanted to. Yeah. So
Yes.
that was like amazing. So it's like, thank you. Um, Yeah, more interviews, more fashion interviews.
That's
And like
cool.
somebody was like, you look so natural. And I was like, thank you, God. Like I was just so happy to, I was like, this is, definitely the opportunity and
Yeah.
preparation thing colliding. Cause like I wasn't even supposed to do that. Like that's the crazy
I
part
was
about
like,
it.
my girl done worked herself on in there. I know that's right. I know that's
But
right.
again, I was like, whatever you guys need back here, I'll do. I don't care. You want me to carry the cameras? I'll carry the cameras. Y'all want me to,
Yep.
just super. I'm not better than anybody. I'm trying to get
Yeah.
into this space.
That's
And
how it
like
works.
somebody, it literally is. It literally
Yep.
is. And like somebody from, which is kind of unprofessional of them, but like somebody from a radio station didn't show up. And they were
Hmm.
like, oh my God, we have nobody to do the Coco Jones interview.
What do you mean, no one? You have the perfect person. Hi, hello. My name is, and I'm on my
Exactly.
microphone.
Exactly. And so the people who I was with, like I said, hey guys, I'm available. I'll do whatever you want. They were like, well, Scale can do it. And they was like, do you want to do it? And I said, absolutely. In my head, absolutely. But I was like, yeah, sure, I can do it. I'm like,
Absolutely.
no,
Right.
no, no. I
That
love
is
and I
so
love Coco Jones.
cool.
Yeah, it was
Hell
like
yeah.
it was just like opportunity and like I didn't feel, like I did not feel nervous. They was like, are you nervous? Are you gonna be okay? Are you really gonna be able to do
Can
this?
I
And I
do
was
this
like,
every weekend? Please. I'm the big scale,
not the little one.
not
So
the
I
little one.
just I'm
But
still like,
let's make note. Get you some seats the next time. Yeah, always go with your
get
gut.
me a
Always go
seat.
with your first intuition. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Man, man, man. That's really, really cool. I'm excited. Like I
No,
like, you gotta see this. I showed Jalen. I was like, look, Scale got Coco Jones. I was waiting for like J. Cole or somebody. I was
oh my
like,
God, that
now
would have
after that, I
been
was like,
crazy. I
oh,
should have
what's
said
next?
that.
What's next?
I should
I
have
went
said that
and
to, I should have put that out there. Like, yeah, and I want to see J. Cole. Like it's but it's cool. It's like Dream, I don't know, anybody who hasn't been to Dreamville hasn't heard it because like there's people that haven't heard the Dreamville, and that's just a
mhm,
weird concept to me. But
mhm,
everybody has their bubbles or
yeah,
whatever. And I
yeah.
was like, and somebody was like, "What's Dreamville?" And I'm like, "What's Dreamville?" So like
What?
in your head, you're like, you have to see J. Cole. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to see J. Cole. I should say that. So like I didn't, I never say and you say I gotta make sure I see this person, I gotta make sure I see that person. I didn't say I gotta make sure I see J. Cole. So maybe I need to just everything I
Yeah,
want out of
because
this
you made sure
universe. I
you
gotta
saw
just
Coco Jones. Listen, you better call it out, manifest it, say, hey, this is what I'm gonna do, this is who I'm gonna see, this is what we're gonna do.
no,
Put it out there.
that's a bar. Set your intentionality no matter what, no matter how
Hmm.
big or small you feel like something is,
Yep,
yeah, just go ahead and set your intentions. That's a
I'm
bar.
with you. That is it. We gotta put that on the board. On
Yeah, I
the
love
board.
that.
All right, we done caught up.
Uh,
What are we talking about today? We got a couple of cool
oh
things
my
on the
God.
board. Couple of cool
Just
things.
more like women centric stuff. Like I just
Ooh,
feel like, the Nike commercial that like,
yes,
everybody watches women's sports. Like everybody watches women.
yes.
But so we got a HBCU student repeating
Ooh,
as the gymnastics champion, and I am talking about Morgan Price.
yes.
I
This
am
price
in
is
awe.
incredible.
I'm in awe. I'm in
As
awe.
we
Like
should
that
be.
is like to come, for Fist to come on the scene, with this new program and having, these you know, top athletes. I mean,
Hmm.
like a two-peat. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like that's insane.
Yeah, before we jump, let's see what else. Okay, so let me back us up a little bit for a second. So we definitely hitting up Miss Price because we definitely got to talk about her for 3P. But the rest of the show, we still got to run down all the topics we talking about because it is fully loaded. It's loaded with
Oh, tell
women.
everybody
This
what we got.
one, yes. We also have a high-profile love story that hit the streets here recently. We still obviously women are everything, and we're bringing up some new sport, not the new sports, but kind of new to the arena of more professional, less intramural side. We got flag football happening.
with
We're
women.
back from the BCIC, so we still talking about that. And then we're gonna hit up our Queen of the Week. So
A
that's what we're
woman.
talking about today. A woman, of
Women,
course.
women, women,
What else would
women,
we be
women.
doing
Even
here?
this whole profile, this high profile relationship is because of the woman in the
Of the
relationship.
women,
Like
right? That's
women
how we
are
know
just
who we're talking about because,
exploding.
right, the
Jesus
things we learned
Christ.
today. All right, running it back. So Morgan Price, we learned repeated at the National Collegiate Gymnastics Women's Invitational Championship. And she won last year, which was incredible. Only HBCU student to do so. Um, I'm just Floor, every time we talk about her, every single time, she always sets the bar literally and goes higher and does better. Perfect score. Just insane.
Jesus Christ. And then just the fact that like, our athletes are coming home,
Mhm.
and we have the resources for them to have a home to come back to.
Yeah.
Who knows how many, black students would have went to Fisk, for gymnastics.
Right.
I know some that went to UNC for gymnastics, and not saying, remember, I'm sure they had a great experience or what have you, but
Mhm.
yeah, like just coming home. And one thing about HBCUs is like that you learn is like you're finding yourself with people that look like you. So like imagine
Right.
that with also perfecting your craft, and something like a
Mhm.
gymnastic and stuff is something you can keep going, Olympics or what have you. And she was originally going to a SEC school.
Oh, wow.
So I am, yeah. So it's just thrilled that we had the opportunity and the resources for her, to go to Fisk. Like,
That's
man,
incredible.
man.
Isn't Fisk
Yeah,
the
but
one
now
with the really dope acrobatic team? I think they got a really solid acrobatic team. Fisk is really making the way in women's sports in general. We might need to do a whole segment on like the women's sports at Fisk because I wonder what other programs they really
I would
got
love that.
going on.
I love
But not to
that.
deter us from Miss Price.
And I think there was another student, Miss Reed Hamilton Hammond too. So there she's also advancing to the event finals.
Oh yeah,
So
Leah Reed Hammond.
yeah, so not, not one, of course, but we have two that's advancing.
Right,
And I mean it's just amazing. So it's like not a fluke. One she won last year and this year. And then we have multiple athletes going from this. So I'm with it.
same. Because you can't beat that.
And then let's
And
talk
like
about
you
another two, Pete. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no,
Everybody. Go
no,
ahead.
I was listening. I was listening for you.
North Carolina A&T. So, I'm not gonna say always too many great things about no, I think A&T is an amazing school, but like going to the cheer national championship and winning
Yeah,
again. I've been watching their little routines. I'm like, oh, this is like super bring it on. And they down in
yeah.
Daytona too. They down in Daytona too. So I feel like
Hmm.
it's so nostalgic. It's like a childhood memory, unlocked or whatever, because, Bring It
Right,
On, they, performed in Daytona. So like, yeah, impeccable routines. And then there was one like you physically saw them mess up, right? And like, but the
right.
way they jumped back into it like was almost more admirable than the routine itself, because
Wow.
it was a super intricate part where they're stunting.
Uh-huh.
So one group fell out of the stunt and got right back into it at the same time that the rest were in the stunt, the next part of the stunt. So
Right.
I'm like, so not just, that, actually cheering, but in a stunt.
Right.
They came back
Right.
in a stunt. I was like, wow. Wow. It was beautiful to watch.
That's
So yeah, shout out
dope.
to A&T.
That's dope. I need to run that back. I know there's tons of coverage on that. I need to run that back. I was a
Yeah.
big Bring It On fan, and I wanted to be a cheerleader at one point in my life. But I was not cheerleader material.
That is hilarious. But would you have been a stomp and shake cheerleader, or would you have been, a stunt performance cheerleader? What do you think?
I believe I would have probably just I would have been the base of a performance cheerleader. I've been like this same size and height for the most part since like eighth grade. Like I was Big Bird in high school. And no, for real, like I've literally been this big, like this size. You see me at since the eighth grade. So I think I would have been now
That's
I would have
admirable.
wanted my passion could have been summer shape. And I feel like I would have went to HBCU out of high school. I already had wanted to go to A&T. I was interested in Hampton because at the time that was the local school. Um, so I think I still would have ended up at a HBCU, but I don't know. I did. I would ended up in band at ROTC. I had also been shooting guns since the eighth grade, so I was like, "That's cute. I can't shoot nothing, so I'm going to where I can shoot." That was my Raider Challenge was my jam.
I
So
wish I could have like been in like a dance or something like that. But the thing is that speaks to the resources. Like,
yeah.
so many, we can do basketball, football because all you gotta do is find a crate and some cardboard, throw it
Mhm.
up. But like some of these things like swimming and gymnastics
Right.
and cheer, they take some real money and commitment and somebody getting
Mhm.
you back and forth to these events. So it just
100%.
I think it speaks to the community as a whole and the advancement, and then really pushing our children to the arts as well, and
Yeah.
not just like go to school, make sure you get good grades so we can get up out
Yeah.
of here, like so I love it and I appreciate it, just to
That's a
see
great point.
us.
Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
glad I didn't come up in
Hmm.
the push for STEM. We did. Now I did have a like I was in a college preparedness program called Avid, and it, helped you take notes and stuff like that. So it was very, very interesting. Just thinking about, like you said, the resources that we had. I can't think of any like dance troops that were outside of college, like how they have like dance, like these majorette dance groups now. Like
Yeah,
your kid can join at 3 years old. I don't remember any of
developing the
like we
skills.
had
No,
ballet and tap and that kind of stuff, but the stuff that like the access that they have now, the resources, I don't
it's
remember any of
beautiful.
that. And my good old Christian
Yeah,
mama was not finna have me some of this. She wouldn't even let me just like do the praise dancing at church. Like she was like, nah, you can't do that.
I remember I wanted to do gymnastics, and there was one that I know of, like a gym, and my mom, shout out to her because like I think she really like like prevented a lot of like things that
Mm-hmm.
might could have happened to me as a black girl, that and hippie
Yeah.
black girl that
Yeah.
always had hips, kind of like this,
Yeah.
what you were saying. And the gym that I told her about, she went and scoped it out unbeknownst to me, and it was
Uh-huh.
a bunch of um Caucasians, right? And
Right.
so like just like the parents of the Fisk gymnastics girls, like they said that they were the only black girls that this whole time. And so even with like Simone Biles starting her gym or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, it's about having more black girls come together, like again finding yourself, going through girlhood, with people who don't look like you, and for people
Yeah.
who your hair, like you got to explain why you got to do this to your hair as opposed to what
Right.
they had to do to their hair and things like that. So you just imagine,
Yeah.
um, what they had to go to through to get to this point or whatever, and now that you got people who just understand, who just are part of the culture, and you're
Yeah.
growing and learning and perfecting your skill with people who look just like you. Like
Right.
it's so underrated.
I agree, especially considering like the face of gymnastics right now is black women. Simone Biles, you got Jordan, you
Yeah.
got, you know what I'm saying, all the girls. So I'm excited to continue to see how, this progresses across HBCUs. It's incredible for women's sports. I'm into it. I'm into it.
Hmm. And then, women's sports. This
Mm,
is something that when I was a little girl, right? My dad is a football coach.
okay.
Like he played, I tell you all the time, he played football for Elizabeth City State. He coached football. He won a national championship with
Right.
his the high school that he was coaching at.
Uh-huh.
And when I think it was just natural when I was like with my dad, and I got a little brother who played for NC State, had a little stint with the Patriots.
Okay.
So I thought I was gonna play football too. I didn't know that there was a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad
Right? What you
said,
mean you can't play? Everybody in my family plays football. What you talking about?
"That's what I thought." Like I'm like, this is what you're supposed to do.
Right?
My daddy said, my daddy said, "You ain't going out there and get tackled by no boys." When I thought I was gonna go out for a team, and I was like,
Damn, what
killed
do
my
you
football
mean?
dream. Killed my football dreams. But now women's flag football is a thing at HBCUs, and I'm jealous because that's where I could have shined.
Me
That's
too.
where
Like
it
we need an
was.
alumni football team. Yeah, it's definitely spreading. I
Oh,
know right now they just went through like the HBCU flag football roundup. So we're down to the championship for the CIAA at least. I know WSSU, shout out to my girls. They beat Bowie State, I want to say 24-0, if I'm not mistaken.
Jesus
I mean, tote
Christ.
them up. Yeah, tote them up. And then we got to see Johnson
Pew,
C.
pew,
Stiff.
pew.
Yeah, Bowie. They play Johnson C. Smith today, so gotta support the girls.
When did this
Gotta
happen?
support the
Like it
girls.
just it's like I
The
didn't hear
season
about
is
it, and
long.
then I hear about all these schools that have teams and all these people that are exploding and all these things. I'm like, well, where was I when the inception happened? Like,
Yeah, it's fairly new. The CIAA kind of spearheaded it, and they launched the HBCU flag football program. And then I want to say there we got a couple of coaches that play flag football, or there's some agreements with the NFL. Hold on, I got a loud.
I love it in real time. And I mean, I don't know. I think flag football is just a thing now because it's going to be Olympic sport. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just so crazy how like, it just caught on, not only caught on, but like caught fire or whatever. So the Olympics need to look at, a woman's I think they, already just automatically went to men, but they need to think about the women Olympic sport.
Right? I mean, that's our sport anyway. Like y'all go play regular rugby or football or soccer or whatever you want to call it. Let us have the flag football. Dang.
That's crazy. And I mean,
Dang.
and, shout out to the CIAA for being the first conference to do it.
Mhm.
Like CIAA is just it's the it
Yeah, I'm
conference.
saying.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm saying? The best be doing the best things. Just when you do the best, that's what you are.
Okay, so let's talk about what schools have teams. You got Virginia Union, you got it's like Bowie State,
Boo! No,
Bluefield
let's make
State.
sure we saying it right. Boo! We say.
We love all HBCUs
Shout
and
out to
their
you, Shay,
queens.
my homeboy. He's a Bowie alum,
Livingstone has a team. Johnson C. Smith, WSSU, of course. That's a team.
of
Fayetteville
course.
State and Lincoln. Like, what did they do? Did they put flyers up around campus? Like, try out for the flag. But like,
That's
I'm
how it
just so
starts. Yeah, that's
intrigued.
how it starts. Normally, I know last year, I mean, we had campus rec used to lead that type of like intramural program. And they have like clubs that say, oh, you want to do this? We'll practice here in this open field by the library. And then after a while, someone gets good and says, hey, we should do this thing. And they approach the, leaders as they should. And CIAA took it under their belt to pursue it as a league. And here we
Crazy.
are.
No, that's crazy. And Raleigh, they have like leagues too, like, and
Mm-hmm.
they are serious. So I was past my prime by then, but I wanted to play. But I'm like, no, this is the NFL junior right here, and they're not gonna boo me
You'd
or
be
kick me off a
surprised.
team.
We say we're
So
past our prime, but I know, like when I play roller derby, it's still women that I play roller derby with, in their 40s. Like it's women I know play basketball, 30s, late 30s, 40s. Ain't no past my prime, child. Let me stretch these knees out real good, and I'm going to play flag football this
I
season for
don't know. I
somebody.
bet an athlete, you in it, you're
You're there
getting up in the
forever.
morning
You
and
can do something.
running, and you're doing all the things, and then you stop doing the things, and then they go back and train intently. But I don't know. Um
I think you could do it.
I have an addictive personality, so
I
like I
think you
would
could do it.
like jump into it and just
Right.
yeah.
Like, Skell,
That's
you don't need
cool.
shoulder pads on. What are you doing? It's Tuesday, girl. What?
Right, right. So that's, I mean, that's dope. I love that. I love that. And I would definitely love to go to a flag football game and cheer on the girlies. So
Yes, we're going down to tailgates for the girlies. 18
yeah. Oh, that
is
would be
always does a
so
big to
cool.
support the athletics. So
Oh,
definitely
definitely. I
going
was
down
like,
to take over Charlotte as we always do.
um, oh, when Winston plays John C. Smith.
They play. By the time this airs, they would have already played, but we'll see today. Today.
I love that. That's dope. That's dope. And it sounds so organized already.
Yeah, they do. They're doing some great work on that program. Oh,
Yay.
speaking of organized, what's not unorganized? This chaos. Have you seen this madness? I know we don't typically talk about drama over here, but there's some drama cooking, drama brewing in HBC. Now, I said that this person could have played flag football, would have easily been great at playing football, flag football. I mean,
Oh
talk about
God, she's
all-star
definitely a major
athlete.
athlete. Definitely a major athlete.
Definitely could have been a major athlete if, life goes a little bit different. But life doesn't. So we're here talking about Miss Chrisean Rock. And there is a little bit of love story we have going on with some HBCU players. Oh man, did you know that so she used to date, I don't know, are they still dating? Blueface?
I hope not, because
Miss
that would
Chrisean and
be,
Blueface. I know he
that's just
was
the part that I'm afraid about. Like I hope
unavailable.
that like you really move on before anybody, not just her, but
Mhm.
anybody. You just really move on and not bring somebody into a messy situation or into a toxic situation, especially somebody that has something going for them, right?
Right.
And then they're doing something well, and then you're bringing them down by like because you weren't ready and you are still dealing and healing and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
but she's in a relationship with a
Morgan State. My boy went to he goes to Morgan State. Basketball player from Morgan State, Titan Newton. He's from
how old
Southeast
is she and
Georgia.
how old is he?
Let me take that to the Googles. I don't know. I mean, he's at Morgan State now, right? Yeah,
He's at like
he
he's currently at
scored
Morgan
a
State.
whopping average 1.4 points per game in the last season.
I hope that
So
ain't because of her, because he was doing well beforehand, right? No,
that was his average. He's set to graduate. He's gonna be an engineer. That is dope.
that's beautiful.
That
So
is
hopefully he doesn't
dope.
have a 1 point something GPA.
No, that was his average. Don't confuse his.
I know,
At least he doesn't
I
have
know,
it.
I know, I
Right.
know,
You
I
ain't
know.
going
I
nowhere
said
if you
hopefully,
get like that,
hopefully
boy.
that's just in basketball. Any 1 points is just in basketball. Hopefully, he's doing a little better in
Engineering. Well, engineer
yeah,
majors have to keep up a really good GPA. So maybe that's where his focus is, that he's just more focused on engineering than he is basketball.
yeah. And then basketball might have been, I don't know if he had a scholarship or whatever. Basketball might be his way into school and yeah,
Yeah, for
so
real.
yeah. So he's 23. So
Bet.
he's older.
How old is
Because you
she?
graduate college at 21. No, no, no. But you graduate
Oh,
college at like 21, right? Like 2021. So
I
he's
don't know.
old.
I
Okay,
guess
so
that
he's
depends. Yeah, it depends, and maybe like depending on their eligibility, they may like engineering is not normally like a 4 year degree. You're still there for a while, so he could just be,
get
I'm
what you're
saying, right
saying.
now, going through his master's or whatever.
Well, that makes
Chrisean
me feel
Rock was
better
born
that
in
she's like
2000, so she just turned 25. She just had her
25.
25th
She's
birthday,
25. Okay.
so
So
they're not too
they're
far
closer in
apart.
age. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that makes me feel better. Um,
I didn't know she was from
and just
Baltimore. I
you
didn't
ain't
know that.
heard like literally while she's talking, you ain't heard Chi and G come out of her mouth. You might not even like. you might not even follow her, and I see why not. Especially like from her being such a great athlete, so in shape, she ran track, and now into this mess. And like I mean, on one hand, shout out to you for kind of making a way for yourself. Like
Mhm.
she, I think she had like a gospel song out recently, um, and so I guess she really blew up on the scene when she was on like one of those fight
Uh-huh.
shows, like girl fight shows,
Yeah.
and I guess met Blueface, and they had this relationship, and it was tumultuous because I guess he was going back and forth with his first child's mother and Chrisean, and then now Chrisean had a baby by Blueface. And so they're going back and forth. Like at one point, he was engaged to the first child's mom, and
Right.
then but Krishan was still with him and me like openly with him. And then Blueface wrote a diss song for the first child's mom for Krishan. They had a show on Zeus Network, and like on Zeus Network, that's when I her whole family like was trying to fight Blueface in
Oh my
Baltimore. So that's how
God.
I think, yeah, like it was like a big to do because I guess, they see how she was treating him or he was treating her, so obviously that was like their kind of like, you're not gonna treat my family like that moment. So it's just a thing. So that's why, I say I hope, it's calmed down. She's now since had a child with Blueface. She's been in jail. He's in jail currently. It's a lot. So that's why I say, like, I just hope she's done with that before she brings this man into her situation, kind of how she was brought into a situation, where that obviously wasn't done. And you get all this, tumultuous activity.
Right.
So don't do this to this man with, he's in college, obviously on the straight and narrow, he's an engineer or, on the path to engineer. So that's why
It
I
would
say
be
that.
cool if Blueface got out. That's yeah, I hope all like it seems like she's kind of starting to straighten herself up after, this situation. And then Blueface, when he gets out, it would be interesting to see where that leads him, to. I see that he played football briefly at Fayetteville State, our,
That's so
state
crazy.
local Fayetteville State. He's pretty tall. I didn't realize he was 6'4". But he did. He was a
Yeah,
quarterback
he's
during the
very tall.
2015 season. Yeah, 2015 season. He had a really great. He's from Arleta, California. He went to Arleta High School. Had 1,700 yards and 21 touchdowns his senior year. So your boy balled. But he left Fayetteville State to pursue his music career, which I can't really say has been a bad thing. Some of the other decisions that he has made is kind of what led him to where he was, but he's a really successful artist. So I would love to see him come back to HBCU and, pick your life back up, my boy. Pick your life
You
back
pick
up.
your life back up.
You
We can do
shouldn't
that.
have
Pick your
left.
life back up.
You shouldn't have
Pick
left.
your life back up. Yeah, because you don't want even, I mean, they're so young. Like, you just got to think about how, what decisions you were making at 23, right? And 24, even at 28. Like, I thought, like, now, past that age, I thought 28 and I was an adult, absolutely was not. And so, like, to have to make these decisions with all of these resources, all of this money, all of this access, and you, obviously no foundation, beforehand. So, like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think, nobody's, most people are not above redemption. So I agree. I think, um, I hope he gets out and like gets himself together. And if it's at HBCU, that's cool. But like just, get yourself together. Krishan, hope she gets herself together, and I hope this young man, continues, because one thing, that is kind of uneven under attack, I guess you would say, is just like, the advancement of Black people in these
Mm-hmm.
fields where we were so underrepresented,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the importance and even the success of diversity in these fields in medicine
Yep.
and STEM. And so, yeah, like I want, hopefully the best for all three of them. They're even saying, there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of articles written about how Black men are not attending college.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, yeah, there's a big conversation right now, and a lot of it is way more systemic, I think, than people kind of give consideration to.
I mean, it always
Um,
is.
yeah, I know a lot of things that I mean, I guess speaking on Blueface, the you know, principal to prison pipeline, basically, how it started really young at very young ages where they're not recognized, or there are certain qualities about them that are harped on more because they're Black women or Black men. And then it just kind of funnels up. So then they come across like, oh, they're reading below grade level, right? Because they're not in any tutoring programs, they're not in any other programs that other students would, but because now you've created this record because they were disruptive, because they were excited about a thing and you couldn't handle their Black boy joy, so you sent them to the office. And then now they're in the scope of being penalized for being happy Black boys, and then they learn that that's a bad thing, so now they turn to a certain way. Well, I'm not advocated for in these spaces, I'm not supported
I'm
in
only
these spaces,
celebrated
so
when I'm
there's
doing the
no,
sport.
yeah, there's no need for me to go. And then we skip out on a lot of, young men that want to do arts or want to do certain things that aren't the cliche, or you need to be a business major, you need to be an engineer. Like, I don't want to do that, I want to go to school to play my flute, like let me go do that. And those type of
But
things are,
also, I
and
mean,
then go
that's what
back
I
to our
mean.
resources that we talked about.
Yeah. And that's what I mean about we need to be in all spaces because, we need Black male teachers and
Mm-hmm.
Black women teachers because I remember when I was transitioning from undergrad and then I got my PT degree, I was doing substitute teaching and I would go to these schools and got these young white women who ain't never been around Black kids, and the same thing where I would go in and they would brief me on the classroom. Oh, they act grown. They think they're 18 in
Mm-hmm.
there. And I go in there, I'm like, these is regular freaking Black kids. Like, what are
Right.
you talking about? And the day was fine. The day was
Yep.
cool. And so again, like you said, like we need more of us in these spaces so that because we know how we act and we
Mm-hmm.
know how to talk to each other. One time,
Absolutely.
I was in a pre-K class. It was a little Black girl showing her behind, got right up in her ear, and said, "You don't
Mm-hmm.
sit your behind down
Mm-hmm.
and do this work." No
They don't
problem
know
for
how to
the
code
rest of
switch their
the
kids
day.
like we do.
They don't know how to talk to our kids. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And so that's the importance of us in this space. And like you said, if you're only celebrated when you are playing your sport or doing anything, or
Yep.
even seen as a human being when you
Yep.
are throwing a football or shooting a shot, and that's why so many of us go into these spaces, and then because it doesn't always pan out for every one of us, and then we feel like a failure when there could have been a Black teacher at the beginning saying, "Well, you're really good at this. You're
Mm-hmm.
really smart at that." And like I said, and just talking to them like we talk to our children.
Yeah, and people that are even professionals in the way to like interdisciplinary studies is my degree, and it teaches you to find things in other things, to find the similarities and things that just doesn't make sense. So to have the ability to
Mhm.
sit back and observe a child do a certain task over and over again and say that's what their strength is, and not focus on what they're not doing, it takes, I mean, like, it does take a village. It takes the teachers, it takes the parents, it takes everyone, but the parents are under the same, structural racism as the kids are. So they're at work fighting for their lives after having fought for their lives
Mhm.
coming through school. And if they did go to college, they had their own fight to get there. So you try your best to,
Mhm.
do these things. So now it's, we went through a whole generation of, oh, I got to separate my kids from this environment. So I'm going to send them to the better schools. I'm going to send them to this. And then you find out ain't no better school because they're facing a whole different set of challenges there. Now they're going to be at the bottom of the rankings. They're going to be at the bottom because they don't have the same resources that, even though you're scraping, the bottle to get the tuition paid, you're doing the things that you're supposed to be doing per society. They're supposed to have these certain, benefits by going here. And then you find out that they don't because they're still Black
Mhm.
kids at the end of the
Mhm.
day.
Well,
So there's so
we've
many
really been
different
finding
layers.
out that the white man's ice is not colder, right?
Mm-mm.
So, you go to these schools because they're supposed to be better, and it's just and they're not, because we learn when going to college, which I think is a major reason why there's such an attack on higher education, is the education is not just what you learn in the book and in the
Mm-hmm.
classroom. It's how
Mm-hmm.
to interact with people who don't look like you, who don't think like you. It's how to critical think out your way through situations and not
Mhm.
just answer multiple choice questions on a test, right?
Right.
And so I said, when I get rich, like my kids are going to the public schools. Okay, you're gonna be in
I
there.
don't bother. My kids going to public schools because they got to go to do
Yeah.
life with other people that went to
Because
public
then you gotta
school.
you go to public life.
What are
You
we
gotta do life
doing?
in the public. Like, what are you talking
Yep.
about? And I was a part of a system which I now that I'm older, I appreciate where like because a lot of they say, our the parents don't care. The parents don't because they don't because we can't show up to the PTA meetings at 5 o'clock because we're not stay at
Hmm.
home moms or what have you. And
Hmm.
so we had several meetings. You would have a meeting at 9 o'clock so make because maybe some parents did work double
Right.
shifts or two jobs or what have you, and so
Right.
those are the things that the school can do to help the parents to help the students, because it's
Hmm.
not that they don't care, is that they care so much. They're doing so much outside of their kids education just to put them
Right.
in position.
Yep. And they so many different, it's just every time you look up, it's a new barrier, it's a new barrier. And then the provider syndrome that they have, the moment you get out of school, oh, you got to go get a job. There's no break to say, I'm going to take 4 years and go to school. You know what I mean? I'm going to take some time to continue to further my education. God forbid you've had a child in between, and now you gotta be a provider immediately the moment you
Hmm.
step off that stage in high school as a man. Like, that's the expectation from our society. Oh, be a provider. Is like, let them provide themselves an education. Like, let them have the
Yeah,
time
you're
when
still
they're
a
not working
child.
to take care of mama's house. Like, because it's like, oh, I done took care of you for, I hear that so much. I hadn't took care of you for 18 years. It's your turn. If you're gonna be living in this house, you're gonna be paying bills and this, that, and the other. No, I gotta pay bills. Dang, I just want to go to school. Like, they don't have the same foundation. And then they took
Hmm.
it from black girls have the opportunity to go, and it's like, I mean, I'm not saying it's a little more lenient, but each line has its own set of expectations. But we also need our boundaries to say no, our boys should be going too. I got two boys,
Absolutely.
so this is something I had to call Jackson's teacher the other day, because Jackson, I know Jackson, right? And I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, he's the perfect child at school, because I know he cuss up a little bit. But like, he wrote, Jackson is a disruption, something, something, something on his report card. And I called, I was like, okay, you and I have had a few interactions. What does Jackson do well? Can you tell me what he's doing well? Jackson is a great kid. He's da 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 da, and he's really smart. It's just when he doesn't do
I
the
like
work, he
that.
doesn't do it. And I'm like, that's great. That's what needs to go on the paper. Because on the paper, on his permanent record, as y'all like to say, the things that's going to go
Permanent,
to
right?
his
That's what I was gonna say. On
college,
his report
the
card
things
is
that right,
wild.
the things that people are going to review about him. This is what you're saying, and this is not a good representation of the child that you're working with. He also improved in his scores, but I had to sit down line by line and figure out what each number referenced to as a skill set, and then sit with him and do his homework. So it takes so much. And as a parent, I see it is easy to let your child fall into that tunnel of not doing good, because then it's like, oh, he didn't pass the benchmark for this, oh, he didn't pass it, when all it could have took was a conversation with the teacher to be like, you're not going to talk about my kid like this. One,
I
I'm
love
watching
that.
every move you make. That, and I'm not gonna say that it take a lot of extra effort, but it doesn't take a lot of extra effort to let your child know, teacher know, I'm watching every move y'all make over there, and I'm watching him too.
Hmm.
I'm not. This is a mutual effort between
Yeah.
all of us. So it
Yeah.
does. It takes all of that, and then immersing them in HBCU culture. Like, they know what college is. They know what the expectation is. A lot of the times, Jackson is one of the only kids there. I know folks be having children. I know y'all got some kids, some grandkids.
Bring
Bring them
your
kids with
kids
y'all.
around. Yeah.
Even that's a big reason that I go to all of these tournaments, because I want to see where the families are. All these fan fest, they have folks out here with candy and all kind of stuff to make sure you got all the things that you need at these type of events, to say, oh, we're gonna have a good time. You take your family out and expose them to that. You take your children out to expose them to that. So yeah, you could play basketball, but there's 10 vendors out here. There's Skyla, who their boss is an HBCU graduate. Like, you could work at any of, like, you could literally look out and do any of these things instead of just focusing on a sport or and focusing on one thing. But yeah, to sum this back up, I definitely think that there is a gap, but it's not, I'm not going to say we're not to blame for it, but there's so much that is against us, and even more as Black men with the other, intersocietal expectations that they have to provide for their families. We don't necessarily
I love
provide
all of
for
that.
them back.
I love
So
all that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to let and it's systemic. Like boys can't be boys, they are men or is perceived as men from such a young age. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying women, but since young girls, we're specifically talking about young boys.
Right.
And we need to let our children have the opportunity to be children, opportunity to mess up,
Yes.
opportunity to, that, I mean, that's another, again, systemic thing. Like we can't mess up. Like we can't mess up,
Yeah.
even at a young age. So we just need to give Black boys the opportunity to mess up, to try new things, to get it wrong and go again.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I love, this generation of parents. It's so cool. Like just
Mm-hmm.
to watch. And I can't wait to join the ranks.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so I think, maybe this generation maybe does have a gap
Mm-hmm.
that can be filled. But I definitely think, since we have these just super empathetic, super knowledgeable people and, raising kids, like I do see the gap closing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, school, college is not just to learn facts, it's to learn yourself.
Yep.
It's to learn about other people. I saw this thing on threads. I don't even know what to call it. A thread, I guess, a
Mm-hmm.
thread where like somebody said, I wish people could move to New York and just experience life in New York. So and it's the same concept of college or like going to the Air Force. You just meet so many different
Mm-hmm.
people, so many different backgrounds. Even if you go to an HBCU, because one thing I didn't realize is there's a lot of different type of Black people
Mm-hmm.
and it's beautiful
Yeah.
and I love that. But like you grow up in your silos, everybody
Yep.
does, no matter what type of silos it is, even it can be a super welcoming place. Like I know I lived in a super place that would, just accepted people and, loved on people. And then I still got to college and my mind was expanded. I still moved to New York City and my mind was expanded. So if anything, our Black boys need that opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to expand their horizon above, wherever little community or big community that they come from.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love even denial organizations and different clubs and stuff that you have on campus. Some folks come from, places where they did excel and they're the only Black kid in their graduating class, or, they were bused
Hmm.
to a different school and, because they were, academically different or gifted. And then now they're in a place with people that are like them and they have the opportunity to build like lifelong relationships. That's something that I really took away from the championships is you see a lot of like people who went to school together. But they're all old men, like these guys are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, going to the games. And it's like,
Still
oh,
hanging
we
out.
played ball together. Oh, this was my roommate back in
This my
65.
frat brother.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That whole
Yeah.
other layer of male relationships, male bonding, peer support that they get outside of, the skill set that you learn in college. But there's a whole nother layer of community that is there that, yeah, and once you meet people, like these are their lives. Like I talk to this man every day, he my friend every day. Like imagine missing that over a course of a generation, missing that
Hmm.
whole layer of community, to where it's almost like they don't know how to build it. The rungs are apart too far to say, I don't know how to. Now it's like disrespectful to your elders. And you know what I mean? Like, I ain't got to listen to because there's supposed to be a middle rung there. Like, that's why it's missing. So, I think that, we have to be very intentional about the third spaces that men are in, that our boys are in, to be
Hmm.
themselves. Being cultivated, how we have FISC, creating a program for Black women to do this thing. Like we have sports programs, they're amazing. Like I would love to see it at HBCU. Is there any HBCU lacrosse programs or like whatever our chess
We would
program look like? And
kill
maybe
it.
that's even on the media too. Maybe we just don't
We
highlight
would
it
kill
enough.
it. We would
to
kill it.
say, hey, you guys, this kind of stuff is fun. Okay, Hampton has a lacrosse program, but even, I mean, that's all it takes is one. You know what I mean? All it takes is one. So
All it takes is one.
we're going to challenge more. Like, even outside of academics, there's so many arts programs, there's so many different things that we have the opportunity to excel at. And
Mm.
when those recruiters go out to the schools, we have to be, responsible and say, here are all the programs we have, not just sports or athletics teams when we're talking to our Black boys. So we
Yeah.
said all that.
So to sum it up, we love you,
Mhm.
Black men.
The queens
The
love you.
queens love you.
We love
And
you.
we want the best for you.
Yeah, speaking of Black Kings and HBCU teams, we're running it back for the HBCU
We
championship.
did
The BCIC is run by Dr. Wes Bellamy.
a
He's
black
done a lot of
man,
work. So while we were talking about work that has to be done in the layers, he's definitely doing some work out in Charlottesville.
four-time HBCU grad.
Four-time HBCU guy, man, is serious about his HBCU business, and it shows in the program. So I know we've been talking about the BCIC for a couple of weeks, but I think this is also one thing that I noted. In a lot of spaces, there are a lot of women. And I won't say that I notice as many women, but I'm not mad about that because it's like, look what happened when the men do things too. So it's really nice to kind of see that it was so successful and that they saw every little boy that saw only saw the guys doing the things. You know what I mean? Like that's something that they probably don't usually see. And I really, really, really adored that. It was nice to kind of sit back and see like this is what happens when the guy's brain works all together. Right. And this is an amazing thing that has been done. So even outside of the direct connection of the HBCUs making an impact on the community, them being seen as an example of things that Black men do together when you put them together are amazing things. So that was one of my favorite, I think, takeaways as I sat way back. You know what I'm saying? From the BCIC. They were very intentional about that. And I absolutely love that. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I just loved just the opportunity for growth for Black kids. I'm such a girl. I'm just a girl. Like I was in the press room when Lincoln lost.
Uh-huh.
Probably I was like, I don't want to look like a professional, but I just wanted to cry
Them
because
losses
they were
hurt.
just talking about how much they love each other. They was talking about how they were so sad that like they'll never get to play with their brothers again. They've been with their through the trenches with their girl
Yes.
to tears about not just and not even just like basketball, but the relationship that they have with
Mm-hmm.
each other. And so now we have a postseason tournament
Mm-hmm.
for them to, and I mean everything got to end, right? But like here's another opportunity for you guys to, do this with your brothers. And I just and obviously sisters, but like I'm just so
Right.
excited about the growth and what this can become and when you watch stuff like the Grammys and the Emmys, and they're all like, we need our own award shows. We need our
Mm-hmm.
own. And I feel like this is the same thing. Like, okay, NCAA, like unseasoned chicken tournament. Like we
Yep.
can because it's gonna be a
Right. Give us a few
cookout.
years because
It's
the
gonna be a
NCAA.
step show. It's gonna be all of that. And so I'm cool. Like let's send all the black schools to the BCIC.
Right. 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 It'd be like the Dreamville of freaking HBCU basketball tournaments. That would be
Mm.
dope. Oh, that would be
Yeah,
dope.
and just being around
Oh,
um the electricity that you feel being around a lot of like it's you don't know that you missed it because you're in the hustle and the bustle of
uh-huh.
work and getting your career and even this very creative space, and then you just get into a group of black people. We're not necessarily doing something because there's just something to be said about black regularness, just
Right.
being living. You know
Just
what I'm saying?
being,
You get
yep.
around that energy and you like, and your body relaxes and you breathe this
Mm-hmm.
you exhale, right? And you're like, oh
Right. I can
shit, I've
take
been
this
holding my
mask off.
breath for 6 months.
Yeah.
Exactly. I had on a mask for 6 months. I had like is nothing like it, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
again, I think with our experience, it's not just going to school, it's not just playing the sport, it's not just being in these places. It's the community that we get to
Right.
have. So,
I agree. We got to switch everywhere we go. I got to switch at work. I got to switch when I go to the kids' school. I
yep.
got to switch when I go to the grocery store. I got to do all these things. I just want to be myself. Somebody who gonna pass me a hot piece of fish on a piece of bread, and I don't have to say nothing. You know what I mean? Like people
And
who
I don't
gonna
have
get it.
to explain it.
Right. The
Or
music
if
gonna cut
last
on,
week
and
I
we all
had
gonna do the
weave
same
and the next
dance.
week I got braids, I don't have to explain it.
Right. And no, you can't touch my hair.
I don't even ask you. Or if I
Right.
ask you,
It's
you
not
know it's
even a
from a super
question.
genuine space.
It's
Yeah,
not
it's
even a question. It's not even a question.
so that means that homecoming season is not a few months away. We're gonna let the summer come, but we know we gotta
Oh,
get ready for homecoming season. And so we know we have spring games going on right now.
yes. Yes.
That's exciting.
Very exciting. WSSU had our spring game last weekend. It's a couple of them coming up. Oh, Norfolk State got one coming up. We get to see Mike Vick, Mr. Big in action on the field for the first time. So that's really cool. And Coach Brown, I'm excited to see Coach Brown, their assistant coach. Like I said, we grew up together, so it'd be really cool to see I get to see him coach, a little closer to home this time. So that's
Hmm.
coming up on Saturday. Oh, WSSU coach Tori Woodbury. He is a coach over there as
Dope.
well. So they got a real good, solid crew. I'm definitely excited to see what they got coming for football season. Do we play them? No, ain't no way. They MEAC, right? Just I don't know. I would go for the visuals. Oh, Virginia
The
State. They play
visuals.
Virginia State.
I would go for the visuals.
Might have to go for the visuals in Richmond, High Richmond. I wonder if
Visuals.
they play in New York or Richmond. I don't know. We're gonna have to look to get to. I want to go to New York. Or do
Yeah, all
they?
those games gonna be crazy.
I'll do it though. I'll do it. I wonder if my cousin could get tickets. She's a double grad from Norfolk State. See if she
Mm,
can get tickets. We're gonna see. We're gonna have to work on that right now. I know that's gonna be live. It's gonna be packed.
yeah, I'm
That
excited.
is gonna
I'm
be
excited about
packed.
yeah. And then the exposure, that the school gets, the
Yes.
resources that will now come to the school, like that's always the plus. And so
Yeah,
us
they're
reaching
already
back
in
and
the
helping.
from the NCAA. They went pretty good. They did pretty good in the NCAA tournament. So they're got a little spotlight on them in general. Behold the goal, right? Ain't that their thing? Behold the goal. Oh man.
Well, what do we have? Oh, the queen. Well, I
Yes, our
literally forgot to talk about men. What is our
queen. Since we're talking about
queen?
Virginia State.
We be killing these little transitions now. The transitions been
Okay,
smoothing out.
period.
The
Bet no
transitions been
man.
transitioning.
Let's see. Okay, the transitions are transitioning. This week, our queen of the week is who's our queen of the week? Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba,
I do the
ba,
I
ba,
do
ba, ba.
the symbols. I
Oh,
do
I
the
don't know. I
symbols.
was
You
waiting
said
for
the
this.
queen. Nadine,
Miss Nadine.
yes, who is freaking making, I mean, again, another woman in sports. She is making the jump from a D2 school to a D1 school. So she is going to Morgan State. Ooh,
Morgan State.
even the CIAA, going to the MEAC, Morgan State, from Virginia State. And yeah,
Yep. She
you
was one
love
of
to
the
see the
coaches at
progression.
the All-Star game that we just had this week. Hmm.
I did not know that.
Hmm. Yep, yep,
Oh,
yep.
I did not know
She's
that.
pretty good. Her team 2024 Finished 21-5 regular season, won the CIAA Northern Division, and reached the championship game with Virginia State. So
No, that's
yeah.
dope.
Oh, she played for our first Queen of the Week, C. Vivian Stringer. How amazing! And drafted by the Liberty. How dope! We were
Did I
just talking
tell
about
you? Did I
Liberty.
mention that? Did I mention trying to get Liberty
Yes.
seats?
Did you get
Yeah,
it?
last week.
Yes. I looked on
Girl,
BetTix.
them things
BetTix
sold
isn't
up in
in New York,
August.
so I couldn't find any. I did get tickets for a comedy show tonight, though.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll be getting individual seats or whatever for the Liberty. But like, shout out to her being drafted by the Liberty. I mean, and they just obviously won the WNBA championship. So like, yeah, I mean, I mean, this is beautiful. You know, beautiful to see. You love to see it, and you love to see the progression from HBCU to HBCU. Like you can travel up in the HBCU world.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it wasn't like that years ago, but it's like that now. So we don't ever have to leave our people.
Right. And that's crazy doing really. It is from a D2 to a D1 program. So
Right.
it's dope, especially it's like transfer season. So the players are even watching the coaches do the same thing. So, you have a lot of movement in those coaching spaces right now. At the same time, you have them with the players in the transfer portal. So, congratulations, Miss Coach Nadine Domon, now head coach at Morgan State for the Lady Bears. Very excited about that. Very, very
Very
excited
exciting.
about
So
that.
shout out to our Queen of the Week.
Queen of the week. You need an actual jingle. That's not me singing it. That's not me
I like
actually
singing.
singing because it's so bad.
I like singing.
Oh, I love singing. All right, girly girl, what we doing this week? I'm headed out to the championship game, the flag football.
Oh, for flag in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. WSSU versus Johnson State.
Uh,
We're coming to get y'all. So,
um, I wanted to go. They have a HBCU, which is like kind of like I didn't know, but like they got this big HBCU community in New York, and there was supposed to be a thing today, but it's so rainy, it's so cold. I saw something online that said New York is going to be colder than freaking Siberia this weekend, so I will
oh my God.
Siberia my butt at home unless something happens.
Feel you.
um, so yeah, but that kind of sucks though, because like I would, of course, would have wanted to connect with the HBCU community, but I'll
Yeah.
let you know how it goes.
Okay.
I guess by the time people watch this, we'll know who won the championship game in
Yeah, you got to
Charlotte.
stick close to
So,
HBCU Game Day for that story. Make sure you
hmm
subscribe and to get the notification and messages for HBCU Game Day so you don't miss anything. Ooh,
and I guess we have a
we got a
princess of the week.
birthday. We got a birthday. Our
We
very
got a
own
princess of the week.
niece of the week,
What's a
Supriya. Miss Supriya
little
Game.
this, not a crown, but like a little princess
Oh, that is
crown.
so cute. Little cute princess of the week is our
Yeah,
bookie,
the princess.
Sophia. She turns one
Oh,
today. She
so
turns one
cute.
today. She is the amazing 1 year old of our producer, Steve Gaither. He's a daddy for a year. He's a happy celebration 1 year daddy day to
I mean, just shout
you.
out to you for keeping a child alive for a year.
Yes,
That's something to
for real.
celebrate.
It's not easy to keep humans alive. They are crazy.
Shout out to
So
you for
big shout
keeping a
out.
child alive for a whole week,
Absolutely. I'm gonna try to keep myself
a whole
alive for
year.
this week. And you keep yourself alive for this week. And we will see y'all back next week here with Queens of the Yard, powered by HBCU Game Day. Bye.